Good morning, yet again. You have me again this morning because Vicky has been overwhelmed by family stuff. You know how it is with families, there's always stuff. So that's why it's late, and so my apologies. Today we celebrate the Archangel Michael and all angels, which of course is relevant because of our own St. Michael's at Altar. So it's their patronal festival. All the readings are relevant to the appearance of angels in the Bible, and when you look for them, they are around really quite a lot. I've chosen the reading from Acts when Peter is rescued from prison by an angel. And so here it is. It's Acts chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. It was about this time that King Herod arrested some who belonged to the church, intending to persecute them. He had James, the brother of John, put to death with the sword. Then he saw that this met with approval among the Jews. He proceeded to seize Peter also. This happened during the festival of unleavened bread. After arresting him, he put him in prison, handing him over to be guarded by 4 squads of 4 soldiers each. Herod intended to bring him out for public trial after the Passover. So Peter was kept in prison, but the church was earnestly praying to God for him. The night before Herod was to bring him to trial, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and sentries stood guard at the entrance. Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell. He struck Peter on the side and woke him up. "Quick, get up," he said, and the chains fell off Peter's wrists. Then the angel said to him, "Put on your clothes and sandals," and Peter did so. "Wrap your cloak round you and follow me," the angel told him. Peter followed him out of the prison, but he had no idea that what the angel was doing was really happening. He thought he was seeing a vision. So they passed the first and second guards and came to the iron gate leading to the city. It opened for them by itself, and they went through it. When they had walked the length of one street, suddenly the angel left him. Then Peter came to himself and said, "Now I know without a doubt that the Lord has sent the angel and rescued me from Herod's clutches and from everything the Jewish people were hoping would happen." This is the word of the Lord. This is one of those really human stories that poor old Peter is in prison in chains with rough soldiers barking orders at him, treating him like dirt. And he's fallen asleep, worn out by the events of the day. And he thinks he's having a dream or a vision. He sees an angel and thinks, "I'm hallucinating." The angel has to be quite rough with him as well, just to get Peter to stand up and get his clothes on and start walking out of the prison. You can see the scene. Peter looking at the angel in amazement, ignoring the instructions, and the angel having to give him a shove and saying, "Get up and get on with it. Get on with doing as you're told." Peter must have walked out as if sleepwalking, because he simply doesn't believe it. If it hadn't been so serious, Peter being imprisoned in the first place, it would have been quite comical, and I bet Peter and his mates had a laugh about it later on. This story has to be a tangible proof that God really does have our interests at heart. He is willing to send his angel troops to sort things out like this. God couldn't allow the Romans or anyone else to dispose of Peter at this time. God had work for him to do. So he sent in the big guns. Today, people often think of angels as little charms in white shiny dress with sparkly wings or something to put on the Christmas tree. But in reality, angels are nothing like that. Even the description of them in the Bible is nothing like that. In Revelation, they're described as awesome creatures with multiple eyes and 6 wings, towering over everything. And then the opposite end of the scale, in Genesis, they're described as being like ordinary men visiting Abraham. So they are either otherworldly beings or looking like mortals. So which is it? I think God sends them in the guise of whichever is most useful at the time. If someone needs scaring out of their wits, it will be one way, and if they need reassuring, it'll be another. I think we often meet angels in our own lives, looking like ordinary human beings most of the time, but sent certainly when we need help. There have been a couple of times in my own life when I have been convinced I have spoken to an angel who's given me specific help. So let me tell you about one occasion. I was due at a Christian conference on a Saturday morning, and I was driving down the East Lancs Road to join the M6. As I came down that hill that goes to the M6 junction, in front of me on the flyover, the traffic was absolutely stationary. They were parked, stretching for miles. If I had joined the slip road, I would have joined a queue that would hold me up for hours and hours. So I drove under the flyover and found somewhere to park to decide what to do. I found a bit of wasteland out in the field and just simply sat there thinking, what do I do now? This meeting I was going to was too important for me to simply abandon. So I couldn't think of a way of getting round this traffic jam without going to Liverpool and through the tunnel, which would have put at least another couple of hours on the journey. And going further down the East Lancs Road, I would have been out of my comfort zone. I wouldn't have known where to go. So I'm sitting there saying to God, what do I do now? At this moment, there's a little tap on the window, and I turned and opened it, and I saw a man standing there who simply said, do you need any help? I explained about the traffic and pointed to the flyover, and he gave me instructions as to how to go across the Warburton toll bridge, which I'd never heard of before. Maybe you've heard of it. I could take you there, but I'm not sure to remember the instructions. I turned away to write down these instructions, and when I turned back, the man wasn't there. And I mean, he had disappeared. I looked all around. There was nowhere for him to go. I was out in the fields off the main road. There wasn't a house or anything. I can only conclude that he was an angel sent to me to give me those road directions. And there's no other logical explanation. And incidentally, the directions worked and I got to that meeting on time. God has us very firmly in his hands, and he uses whatever people or angels that are needed to give us help. Sometimes they are simply loving friends and relatives. Sometimes they're strangers we haven't met before. But sometimes they are genuine angels. What's important is that we realize and appreciate that God cares for us so much that he takes the trouble to send to us his best helpers when we're in trouble. So let's finish with a prayer. Thank you, Father, for always being with us in trouble and in happy times, when we need a helping hand and when we are the helpers that you send to other people. Help us, Father, to remember to thank you for that help, as well as thanking the person you have sent. And we offer to you our time and our usefulness for you to use for other people. Amen. Thanks for listening to me today. May you be an angel to someone today. Bye for now.